Stephen, before we start the video, I want to talk to you about something.
Oh, can't we just start the video?
No, not yet, because this is important. This is really important. It's about trading.
Trading?
Yes.
Consider myself a little bit of a trader at times, you know, Jay.
You are a little bit of a trader. What is it you like to trade?
I like to trade money for rum.
Well, that's one way of trading, but there's an even better way of trading. Commission-free investing and trading with freetrade.io/Stretford.
Hang on. You're about proper trading there.
Yes, I am about proper trading, not just exchanging money for goods, but also investing and trading with a new app that's out. And obviously, we've got involved. We've had a go. We've had a bit of a play with it. And despite the fact you're something of an expert in trading, I'm a bit of a novice.
I'm a novice in terms of this is all of those. Like, do I have to now buy a Gucci bag and take a photograph in a hotel room?
We spoke about this. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to put a suit on. You can still wear your T-shirt. This is an app that anyone can use. I've been using it, and everyone that knows me knows I'm a bit of a Luddite.
What have you been looking at, Jay?
Well, do you know what? I was just having a look at first because I signed up, and you don't have to trade. You can just watch and see what's going down before you strike. You know, like
when I went to that swinger party.
Yeah, he didn't put his keys straight in the bowl. He waited. He waited.
Work the room.
Yeah, work the room. See who's putting the keys in. Then he put his in. He's clever. So yeah, a little bit like that. I had a look, see what was going down, and did it slowly, did it gradually, because there's no need to rush into these things. You've got to be careful. You know what I mean? We're not going to say, oh, let's just boom, boom, bash, bash. If you don't know what you're doing, took my time and used
trading,
it.
you can win and lose.
You can win and lose, and you have to be mindful of that. But what I like about this app is it's very, very easy to use. It's easy to sort of navigate. You can see what you're doing, and you can get a gist of how it works. You don't have to be any sort of expert in trading. If you're a complete novice like myself, or if you're an intermediate like Stephen, it's easy to use.
I'm a novice. I'm a novice in terms of trading.
You're a novice in terms of trading.
I'm an expert in buying all sorts of shit, though.
Yeah, you are an expert in buying all sorts of crap, as we can see from some of the stuff we've got in our studio. Go to freetrade.io/Stretford, download the free trade app, create and fund your account, and you'll get a random free share worth between £3 and £200. You know, you can invest in Greggs, Rightmove, Apple, Google. Do you know that the first ever drive-through Greggs was in Ireland?
I did.
So free trade is not about betting. It's not about hidden fees. This is about educating yourself about investing and trading and being careful as well. So make sure you're looking after your money. So check out the terms and conditions. There's no hidden fees, but other charges may apply. So make sure you check that out. It's important to remember, Stephen, as with all investments, your capital is at risk. The value of your portfolio can go down as well as up, and you may get back less than what you invest. So do be mindful of that and make sure you're careful. Check it out. The link is in the description. Terms and conditions apply. Jay here for Stretford Paddock, as you know.
Yep.
That's Joe Smith.
Yep.
This is Transfers Live.
It is.
It
Everything you've said there is exactly right. I can't pick a hole in any of that.
And also, the important thing to get out of the way as well is I'm not here tomorrow, so I won't see you. So happy birthdays for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just to be double clear,
Yeah.
as much as that means, my birthday is on Saturday.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant. Happy birthday for Saturday. I won't be here tomorrow or see you on Saturday.
Of course.
So happy 28th.
Thank you very much.
If anyone wants to send him a card to the usual address, and
Strange Ways Prison.
Strange Ways Prison, PO Box 4, his prison number's FB8975. Right. Anyway, moving on from your prison number to Manchester United transfers. Loads to get through. We've got the usual fare, Joe. Yeah. Don't worry. We've got the Varanes, the Trippiers, the Pogbas. Yeah, we've got all that.
Your Palistris.
Your Palistris is becoming a little bit of a flavour of the month.
The likes of,
Go on.
Whoever else.
Yeah, whoever else you see. I like it. Keep us in suspense.
Yeah.
Someone who plays for Bayern Munich in midfield, perhaps?
Who would that be? What was his name?
Doesn't it?
Mehmet Scholl, or whatever his name in the 90s. Probably. I bet people in the comments
Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Played from. Who was the one? It was he a striker, wasn't it? Who was crying on the pitch?
Oh, Sami Khedira?
Yeah.
Oh,
was he a midfielder?
I'm not sure, but I thought he was a defender, but that is the sort of iconic image, other than
Proper
Ollie.
ball in his eye, banging on the pitch.
Yeah. You actually played me some. We will get to transfers in a minute.
Yeah,
I just want to say this quickly. You played me the radio commentary for that, didn't you?
Yes.
Because I've always had the TV commentary. The can they score? They always score from the '99 Champions League final. Joe played me the radio commentary, which was the Bayern Munich players don't know what's hit them.
Manchester's hit them. That's great.
And we're hitting you with some transfer news.
Always a favourite of my dad's, that one, so that's where I got that from.
Quality.
Yeah, very, very good.
Straight in the super chat, Alpha Omega says, handsome grown-ups on display.
Yeah.
You might want to clean your screen. I don't know what's gone on there. But, you know, thanks for the
No, it is
compliment.
us. We're handsome.
We are.
And we're very grown up, actually.
We are grown up and handsome.
You haven't soiled yourself in a matter of days.
It is a matter of days, actually. I'm quite proud of myself. One more day and it's a week.
We've got one of those things through there and it says days without incident. And it means when Jay's pooed himself.
Varun in the chat says, you forgot about Ruben Neves, Jay.
Oh,
Don't worry.
Of course, Ruben Neves.
We've got some Ruben Neves stories. But I'll tell you what, let's start with Kieran Trippier.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a fellow Mancunian, if you count Bury, which a lot of people
Bury
do.
today.
You were, weren't you?
Yeah.
What were you doing in Bury?
Get a blood test.
Right, okay.
Who knows?
Do you know what? I've avoided the obvious jokes. I'm not even going to say that. Yeah.
Dot there.
Yep.
Nothing to do with it, but interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is.
The blood test was this up, but look at that. What a dot. And what a vein it's situated on,
That's
Jay.
all right, Vane. I haven't even done anything like that.
Yeah.
Feeling a bit left
A
out.
lot of yours have collapsed after the 90s, though, haven't they?
Yeah, that's nonsense.
That's not true.
I only ever snorted my drugs. Anyway, Kieran Trippier. He's been linked with us, but it all went. Ross Murphy in the super chat says, "Happy birthday for Saturday, Mr. Joe
Thank you
Jesus
very
Smith." He's been linked with us for quite some time.
Yeah.
We spoke to Fabrizio Romano, didn't we, the other week?
That's the guy.
Our Bezzy. And he sort of poured a bit of water on it because he said, well, it could happen, but Atletico want 40 million euros and Manchester United are having none of it. I mean, he didn't say those exact words, but that's what he said.
Well, I think we can see from the graphic there, United want to pay 18 million quid or whatever
Which,
it is.
me and you've been discussing this for quite some time, and we feel that is reasonably okay.
We almost don't need to go into the whole does Trippier work the way
No.
things. This is an update on where we are with Kieran Trippier, and it kind of goes back to yesterday's video with Sam Pilger, who was talking about basically
Which quality that, by the way.
Yeah,
I love that video.
Check that out if you haven't already. Tier 1 Transfer Podcast with me, Jay, and Sam. He was basically saying the same thing that we're seeing here, which is we do want Trippier. We won't be paying 45 million. If we're going to get him, it will be toward the end of the window for a fee in the teens, 10, 15, 18, 19 million, whatever it may be. That's what we're willing to pay. If it happens, it's going to be later on, and it's going to be once Atletico Madrid have sort of gone, well, we're not going to get anything else for him, and he's not maybe, whilst we like him, the most pivotal part of our squad. His contract does run out next year. Or in 2 years, 2023, maybe we can let him go for that. But that's basically the latest, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, as always, we'll keep you updated. As always as well, give us a like. Get involved in the comments.
Yeah.
Hit the subscribe button if you're not doing already.
We're perilously close to 600,000 subscribers. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. And when we get to 600,000, we're all going Disneyland. And that's every single 600,000 of you.
I'll tell you what else you can do as well. That gets this a little bit. Go and check out some of the merchandise we've got as well.
We've got loads more new merchandise coming out for the new season. You'll see a lot more of the merch, actually, because we're updating the store. And there's going to be a hell of a lot of good merch on display there.
Also in the super chat, Sudeep Dutsat says, do you think Ilanga will be better than Rashi? That's a very good question, that. I'd have to say no, but that isn't an insult or a criticism of Anthony Ilanga. I think Marcus Rashford potentially could become an all-time great for Manchester United.
Yeah.
I really do.
And also, obviously that is part of that. But look at not just like highly rated, look at everyone that comes through every academy in the country for a top flight team. How many of them go on to be as good as Marcus Rashford for the same team that they've come through at? It's 1 in 200 at best. That does
Marcus
that,
Rashford is
even for the players that make debuts for that team. None of them go on to be as good as Rashford, generally speaking. He's
probably in the top 5 or 6 academy players playing for the team they've come through. In the world
currently.
Yeah. Like there's not
like he's already a better player than half of the class of '92.
Yeah,
and that they are as highly regarded as they get, and for good reason. But it's so rare that anyone's as good as Marcus Rashford, let alone an academy product playing for the same team that they came through at. So, like you said, whilst that's not a knock, he's probably not going to be as good as Marcus, is he? But hopefully, he can be a regular first-team player for United, and then who knows from there.
David Pritt on the Academy Review raves about him. Honestly, he does. And when we watched the Leicester game, didn't we? where he made his debut, and it was a bit like, we got beat. He didn't do himself justice. Kept it simple, kept hold up with the ball, but didn't really run at players, didn't really try and make anything happen. And you're a bit like, he's much better than this.
Yeah.
And then we had the game later on in the season, I forget where it was against, where he scored, obviously. And then it was like, okay, that's more what he's about. So I'm excited to see more of him.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to say, Rashford comparisons. I guess it's a good question. I'm not knocking the question. But
Dave was saying he likes to cut in from the right, keep doing it,
Yeah,
keep doing it.
that's his
and he does it
move.
until he can't do it any longer.
If it wasn't your birthday in 2 days' time, you'd be in big trouble right now. But I'll let you off for that one.
Can't do it any longer. Any longer.
Right. Longer.
Don't you fucking dare.
Hey,
Walter's head.
Someone here says, I thought your birthday was December the 25th, Joe. That's better than your bloody joke.
No, it's not! Might be, actually. Probably is.
Shall we move on to Raphael Varane? Who is probably the most talked about transfer now, seen as Jadon Sancho's never getting announced.
The sought-after Frenchman.
Yeah,
As I like to call him.
that's a staple of the journalism world, isn't it?
Yeah, one of my favourites. Yeah.
The sought after, and then his nationality.
Yeah.
Or you can say, the much coveted. I like that.
Love it.
Coveted striker or defender in this case. Yep. Raphael Varane. Romano has been, again, we keep using Romano as the sort of the man who dampens our spirits slightly.
Well, let's start this. Harsh. Let's go pre-Romano on
Pre-Romano. So there was stories doing the rounds that, depending on your point of view, I know we've got a graphic up there that's sort of the Romano suite. What happened was, there was a story doing the rounds that United had a bid rejected. Yeah. So United have bid for Raphael Varane, which is obviously massive news.
Rumoured to be £45 million, euros, depending on who you saw it from. It changed currency, as these things tend to do.
Who cares anymore?
Yeah.
European exchange rate mechanisms.
Yeah.
Sterling or euros.
Yeah. Stick
It's
that
all
in
the same, innit?
in your international waters.
Exactly.
That sounded a bit gross, sorry.
So there was this story doing the rounds, you see from the graphic, that a 45 million euro or pounds, does it matter? No. Offer had been rejected, or a bid had been rejected from Manchester United. So you're like, oh, we're bidding.
Yeah.
It's happening.
This is where we start, because then it's, in my mind, I don't know obviously how this works to the fullest extent, but in my head, let's pretend to just be, let's say I was offering you some money for that Pepsi Max cherry there. Yeah. You've got that. I want to buy it.
Okay.
Me and you are doing it. We'll go from start to finish.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you. How much do you want for it?
For this?
Yeah. It's half drank.
It's half drank, but I can't go out and get another one this late in the day. So I'm going to have to say I'd want what I paid for it.
Which was what?
About £1.50.
Right. Okay. I'll give you 140.
It's tempting.
All right. Here's one. 145.
Yeah. All right.
Meet in the middle.
Yeah. Sound.
Deal.
Yeah.
In my head, that's how fast transfers should take.
Yeah.
They say this much, we say that much, we meet them in the middle, game over. They want 60 million euros, we want to pay 40.
That's
50.
a Sir Alex Ferguson transfer. Sir Alex Ferguson was able to do this. What? You want Dennis Irwin? Don't be silly. What about Eric Cantona? Can we have him off you? Right. We're not giving you $1 million. We'll give you 900 and say it's $1 million to the press. Sweet.
Done. in a phone call. I don't understand all this bid. Oh, we've had it rejected. Surely by the time that first bid is rejected, a second bid's already gone in.
Yeah.
You go in there with all your pennies in your bag, like an old woman paying for a global video subscription.
Do you not think, though,
What?
to a certain degree, I know it dragged on, the Jadon Sancho saga.
It's actually drugged on.
Sorry.
Past tense.
Instead of telling us what it is, why didn't you tell us what it am?
Go on.
Right. So if you look at that actual negotiations, from the bidding, it wasn't that long.
No.
Because we had all this last season, negotiations, and United didn't make a bid last season, last summer. We didn't. They wanted 130 million euros, and we said, not a chance. Yeah. So we didn't bid, and they didn't have, obviously they didn't bid, so we didn't bid, so they didn't have anything to respond to. This season, we came in with, 2 bids, and then it was done. Yeah. So it wasn't that protracted, really, once the bidding started. Yeah. It was a case of, what do you want for him? 85, 90 million? No, we'll give you 60. That ain't happening. 70. All right, 75 plus another 5 million add-ons.
Deal.
73.9. Done. Yeah? It was like that. Obviously not as quick, but it wasn't a sort of elongated transfer saga once the bid had gone in. So with this, you think once the bid's gone in, that maybe it can become quite quick because United will have an idea of lots of different variables here. How desperate Madrid are for the money. How adamant the player is about leaving. I don't forget, I think from what I gather, and from what most journalists are reporting, Sancho had sort of told Dortmund, I need to go.
And we also heard their CEO coming out, or was it one of the sort of higher ups, saying there's a gentleman's agreement for Jadon Sancho. So that was he can go if a bid comes in.
Yeah, it was like that was sort of saying. Yeah. So United know roughly the figure. They know that Dortmund are willing to sell. They know that Sancho's happy to come. I think the deal with him was already, a done deal. So it moves along quickly. Now with this, again, it feels a little bit similar vibes in the sense that Raphael Varane spoke to the club. There's permission there. He can speak to the club. So Real Madrid are like, he's going to go. He can go. Yeah. He's got a year left on his contract, so there isn't any dramas there. So now I think it's a case of United going in with Madrid and making a bid. But I think United have to be careful here because Madrid, maybe even a little bit more than Dortmund, I don't mean this is disrespect to Dortmund, are quite a proud club, and I don't think you can go in there and just start taking a mick and go, well, we'll give you 10 million or whatever, something stupid.
Because let's be honest, Dortmund have been taken the piss out of in transfers in the recent past.
Yeah.
Lewandowski leaving on a free. Hummels was either on a free or cheap to their biggest rivals when he's their best defender.
And that burned him.
Mario Götze. People, they just get the piss taken out of them all the time in the transfer market. Let's be honest, they've had some good ins, but generally, when they're getting rid of players, they either make decent money for them or they get done over by Bayern.
I mean, even when we got like Kagawa from it, wasn't like massive money.
No, it was like,
for a player, 17 million for a player who had, I think, like 25 goal contributions the season before.
And Mkhitaryan was a similar story, wasn't it?
And it's like
24 million.
You might look at it and go, well, look at what they did in the Premier League. They didn't exactly set it alight, but at the time, getting players like that who contributed so much in a very good league. For what was relatively mid-range, mid to low-range prices, was a bit of a bargain.
So give us the latest then. So AS come out and say a £45 million bid has been rejected.
Yes, and then
that's what we're all being led to believe. Then tonight,
Fabrizio Romano, our good friend Fabrizio, sort of says, well, he says that's not the case basically. Right. You can see, I think we've got a graphic there. We can put the graphic back up, which we have done. He sort of comes out and addresses this and just says that, no, that's not the case, that United haven't had a bid rejected because a lot of people getting excited.
I see loads of people commenting on his tweet saying there hasn't been a bid rejected. People going, get in. Yes, this is more like it. Wonderful news. You're like, well, that doesn't mean we've had one accepted. No. It just means probably we haven't made one rather than it meaning we've had one and it hasn't yet been rejected.
So you can see there, there's like United want him. He's open to come in. I think it was on his podcast he was talking about, the bid being rejected, that not happening. So we feel like we're almost in early stages where we were with Sancho, where it was like the player and the club are in sort of, not cahoots, but a chatting.
There is an understanding there, borderline agreement.
But as of yet, the clubs haven't spoken. So when that happens, then we'll give you an update. You'll all hear about it. And what I'm guessing is, we're going to have an initial bid from United of, I think, around, and this is just guessing, 40 million quid. Madrid say no. It ends up going sort of to 45 with maybe another 5 on add-ons. So they can call it 50 million. We can call it 45. Everyone's happy. He's only got a year left, so despite the fact he's one of the best defenders in the world, you have to be realistic about how much you're going to get from him with Madrid.
Yeah, and let's look at Paul Pogba, who is our sort of prized asset with a year left on his contract, who is also a similar age. I think Paul Pogba's 28 as well. Like, we're looking at a similar fee for PSG. If he does go, we'll talk more about that later on. But it's not like we're getting 110 million for Pogba and they're getting 45 for Varane. We're looking at a similar figure either way. Do you remember when Hazard, and correct me if I'm wrong, either had 1 or 2, but I'm pretty sure he had 1 year left on his deal, went for 100 million euros to Real Madrid?
That was one of the
Am I getting that right? Because that is
pieces of
incredible
business in the history of association.
I'm sure they'll let you know in the comments if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
How long did Hazard have left on his deal to Chelsea when he went to Real Madrid? Because I think it was 1 year, and I think they got 100 million for him.
I will check that.
That is insane.
James Paul in the super chat says he sent us a £5. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
A £5 for Jays. Tell us how it am. That was beautiful scenery. Thank you, my friend. Let us know about Eden Hazard because that's an interesting one, and you are usually right about these things.
I'll take the compliment, but you know.
No, you are. You know your stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there because it didn't work out, and also
So far, it hasn't. No.
no, it was. Yeah, that was a massive sort of surprise.
Yeah.
Because I think when it says here, I'm just looking at the initial reports. Yeah, you're right. Sky Sports. I've just googled it. Obviously, 'cause I don't know off the top of my head. It says that they bought him for a transfer fee that could rise to 130 million once all bonus payments come into play. I'm guessing none of them came in, unless one of them was just not do very well for us, and then we'll give you an extra 20 million.
One of them was put on a stone.
Yeah.
Then they might have to pay an extra few million quid.
I'm always right. I'm very defensive about players getting criticised for the weight. I think it's just this thing of like, oh, fat Frank, look at the state of Shaw. And I think some players, I mean, like, Frank Lampard, but he's not fat really, is it?
No.
And you know what I mean? And Luke Shaw, he's rapid. So who cares what his build is? But I think when you saw Hazard in his Real Madrid kit, looking like he literally just staggered out of a boozer.
Resting a bowl of frosted flakes on his belly and eating them in front of the telly.
It was a bit sort of difficult to say the guy's looking after himself. And also, whilst I have no sympathy for Real Madrid, because they take the mick out of everyone and they just seem to have this unlimited amount of funds, no matter how much debt they're in, you did kind of think, dude, maybe you should be putting in a bit of effort.
Yeah.
Like you've gone for 130
And also,
million quid.
if you're looking at them, he's pretty much a banker. He doesn't get injured that often. He's been a top-class player for a long time.
Yeah.
You think that's a banker of a transfer, and yet nothing.
But you're right, because it says here, Hazard had 1 year remaining on his Chelsea contract.
Unbelievable.
But said it was his wish to leave Stamford Bridge.
So not only did he put in a transfer request, for all intents and purposes, he had 1 year left on his deal, and it's still up to 130 million euros, making it the 3rd most expensive transfer in history. What?
Do you know what, though? Everything here was sort of the stars aligned to make this happen because he said he wished to leave Stamford Bridge after scoring twice in the Europa League final win over Arsenal. So your stock's really high there, innit? You go, I've just won a European trophy for you. Look, 2 goals there. I'm the man, also hope you win a title. Do you know what I mean? Come on.
So how have we gone from Eden Hazard?
I think he won a couple of times.
It's got to be a COVID thing, hasn't it? We've gone from Eden Hazard going for up to 130 million euros to Real Madrid on 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
At a similar age, and then 2 years later, Paul Pogba going to PSG or whoever it is for around 45 million. Something drastically wrong has happened in the last 2 years, hasn't it? And I guess that thing is COVID.
There is that, but also if you look at Hazard, he is more of a match winner than Paul Pogba
of course,
was.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he won 2 titles. He won
But
the
he never
Euro.
gets you 20 goals a season. I mean, I'm sure he has maybe.
No, you're right. To be fair, he did it once in all competitions.
saying,
So you're right. Yeah.
He's not.
Do you know what I mean? I think what Hazard was very good at was, if you look at his numbers, I'm just looking at his numbers now because I pulled them up. When they won the title, he's like 14 goals, 16 goals, 12 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So he's one of those players, and also there's a lot of assists there as well.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Who can be a match winner for you,
and
win important games for you, as we saw in the cup final against us. Of course, I know it was a penalty, but it still counts. So yeah, it was a great example of what not to do. United aren't going to pay anywhere near that money for Raphael Varane, and we'll see what happens with that one in terms of whether it's going to happen. I'm still cautious around it. A lot of people I've seen just seem to think this has happened. The naming him in their starting 11s for the Leeds game, and it's like, what a great window we've had with Sancho and Varane. Yeah. And I'm like, right, even I can say Sancho's done, but come on, Varane is nowhere near done yet. No. Let's not. Do you know what I mean? This is, we've been closer to transfers than we are with Varane that haven't happened.
Yeah.
We were closer to Snyder and it didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? So
Ramsey, obviously.
Yeah, Ramsey.
Obi Mikel. Robben.
John Obi Mikel was a player for us.
As a point, Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
We were basically told, pay 30 million, you've got him.
Yeah, so
we refused to.
I'm not trying to be negative because I love Raphael Varane. I'd love to see him. I just don't want to start, jumping for joy and getting his name tattooed on my head just yet, because don't forget as well, we've got those owners who are just absolute buffoons and selfish and could screw this up.
So you're telling me if he does sign, you will get his name tattooed on your head?
I'll tell you what, if we sign him and we win the treble, I will get his name tattooed on my head.
Another thing.
Right? And I mean that. Just clip that up.
Just to raise this quickly, we were talking in the lift earlier, and I was asking you what would your hair would look like if you grew it out for like 4 months. Because for those who don't know, he shaves it every day in the shower, which is dedication. You said it would just grow on the sides like Uncle Phil, didn't you?
Yeah, you said Uncle Phil, but yeah, that's right.
Dr. Phil,
Dr.
sorry,
Phil,
not Uncle Phil.
Actually,
Actually,
Uncle
both
Phil.
of them. Both
Uncle
of them.
Phil's better.
Yeah.
Especially, you know.
I meant Dr. Phil.
Yeah, but Uncle Phil,
Yeah.
especially if I didn't lose the weight that I did.
If you put on 5 stone. Yeah, so Uncle Phil, Dr. Phil, someone with the surname Phil.
Yeah.
Although it's actually both of their first names, which is weird. I want to see you do it. That's
Right.
what I want. I want people in the comments to let me
No,
know.
I'm not.
Should Jay turn into... fuck it. Let's put 5 stone on and grow the hair out.
Yeah,
Jay to Uncle Phil / Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, or one of the clumps. You know, the clump guy. One of the clumps. They're all Eddie Murphy, but the bald-headed one.
That would be sensational.
Yeah,
And grow the tash like Dr. Phil as well.
Yeah, I'll stick to the tattoo thing if we win the treble. I don't know
go on
about the tash and the 5 stone thing.
All right, go on. Next. What's up
right,
next?
Ruben Neves.
Yes.
Do get involved in the comments, and I will sort of answer some of your, or read out some of your comments, because a lot of people have commented on the Varane thing, and I don't want to miss it out. Sorry, just before I get on to Ruben Neves, actually, Dylan Ducey says, I think Varane will join because, like the Sancho deal, personal terms seems to be done before the actual fee, which is very odd, right? Yeah, that's a great point, and I think you're... Right, also, I missed the comment out before. P-Dog says, love you, gents. Any members' content coming up soon? Yes, next week, got a load of new members' content coming up. So do keep it locked for that. As Macaulay would say, keep it locked. And we'll always be updating our members' content as well. So if you're not a member, do check out the members section where we put up extra content. So we don't put stuff we normally put on here on there, but we put extra stuff on there, behind-the-scenes stuff, that sort of get up.
By the way... the winner of the Euros members fantasy league sending out your shirt tomorrow. So thank you for sending that in, mate.
Yeah.
We do stuff like that for the members as well.
Good stuff. Ruben Neves.
Yes.
So excited, nearly knocked over the microphone. Now, this is a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because I like Ruben Neves. He likes a goal against us as well, doesn't he?
Crossbar and in.
The little tinker. Now, we weren't really linked with him, then all of a sudden we are, and now we've moved ahead of Arsenal in the transfer race for him, which is shocking for me because I didn't even know we were in a transfer race for him. And now not only are we in it, but we're beating Arsenal. That just shows you how shit Arsenal are, aren't it?
Yeah.
We're not even in this race and we're still ahead of them.
You've seen the... I mean, this is disrespectful, but I can't even remember his name.
Aaron Ramsdale.
No, the midfielder, blonde hair, plays for Arsenal. Just signed a new contract
Oh, Smith Rowe.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had to give him the number 10
Right.
and give him a new deal just so Villa wouldn't take him off.
Can I just remind everyone?
That's really
right?
upsetting, isn't it?
I don't want to hear this fucking shit about Arsenal's number 10 shirt. It's the Bergkamp shirt. It's also the William Gallas shirt, right? It's meaningless. It's not an iconic shirt like our number 7 is.
No.
It just isn't. Yeah, and it's just like Arsenal are trying to make out this big thing about it.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, yes, some good
But, I mean,
players.
to him, it's an
Yeah,
incentive.
it's an incentive. To him, sorry, it's an incentive, and I get that.
Yeah.
But you can't compare the Arsenal number 10 shirt to the Manchester United number 7
No,
shirt.
of course
because
not.
it's just like, it's like the statues. They give statues to anyone over there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You win a Ballon d'Or, you get a statue at Old Trafford. You can win a Ballon d'Or at United and still not get a statue.
Cristiano
Just
Ronaldo.
exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How many of their statues have won Champions Leagues for Arsenal? None.
None.
Exactly. Thank you.
So,
But yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, but I think Arsenal are just a club that love embarrassment.
yeah. And I know that obviously we come from a much sort of greater history than Arsenal, but there was a time in the 90s and the early 2000s that United and Arsenal were sort of level pegging in terms of stature around England. Obviously, we had more of a history, but they were really building themselves as one of the biggest clubs in the country.
You've got a great point there as well.
From where we were then to where we both are now. I know we haven't won the league in 9 years, but they are a mid-table team now.
When you look at it, when they moved to the Emirates,
Yeah.
there was a thinking and a feeling that they could rival us as the biggest club in England. Because if you look at it, they've always had history. You know, I think they were the second team to ever do the double. I think in the 70s, 71 was it. They obviously under George Graham as well. So they had success in the 70s, and they had under George Graham. They won the title, obviously beating the Scousers to it in the last minute of the game at Anfield. Then they were a cup team under George Graham. They won the Cup Winners' Cup, which we all know is the most important trophy ever. They won the League Cup. They won the FA Cup, both League Cup and FA Cup in the same year. So there was doing okay, doing well. Wenger comes in after they'd had a few years of not performing. They do the double. So it's like, okay, yeah. And then they have that season where they drew 12 games and got beat 6 times in the cup. So they keep going on.
And
about.
also won another league in the middle there as well.
Yeah. So, like, it's okay. And then they get the stadium, which was a stadium that sort of rivals some of the better stadiums.
That was obviously as well being planned during their peak.
And people think, Wenger is this professor and they've got all these great players and they're going to kick on. And they just went backwards.
Yeah.
They just absolutely, like you say, they are a mid-table
It's just
team.
gone to shit from
like, what is it? They spent 72 million quid on Nicolas Pepe and finished 8th, and then went out and actually bought Thomas Partey and still finished 8th.
Yeah, one of the most highly regarded defensive midfielders in the world.
How is that even a thing? How is that possible?
I know.
How can you do that?
And I know, obviously, this isn't. I wasn't bringing this up as a way to be like, well done, Man United, but it isn't impossible for a big team, one of the biggest in the country, to sort of shrivel into insignificance almost in a decade or two. I mean, Liverpool did it for a long time.
Yeah.
It's, and obviously...
Look at them under Hodgson.
Yeah.
They were in bottom half of the table and he got sacked.
Yeah, exactly.
So
anyway.
Go on, sorry.
So back to Ruben Neves.
Alpha Omega in the super chat says, Neves versus Damsgaard, question mark.
I'd prefer Neves.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Go on then, what's the latest on Neves?
We're
supposedly ahead of them in
yeah,
the
we're
race.
supposedly ahead of them in this transfer race. There's a feeling that that possibly he could be available because they've lost Nuno. There's something's not quite not great at Molineux, is it? There's a sort of it's one of those. The wheels coming off a little bit. They had a bit of a difficult season last season. Obviously they lost a couple of players. They lost Jimenez to injury. Jota went to the Scousers. Now there's a feeling maybe some more players. Neves being one of them. He's probably one of their prized assets.
Definitely.
Yeah, you would argue that perhaps he is their prized asset.
I think definitely is now.
Yeah,
him and Jimenez used to be, but then obviously Jimenez had 9 months out with a fractured skull, and who knows how he'll come back from
they've
that.
got other players as well, like Connor Cody and Traore and stuff. But they're not. Your reaction?
I'm sick of both of them.
Connor Cody and Adama Traore both overrated.
Yeah.
I feel like
massively.
That. I
think Traore would, he'd get games for United. I don't think he's terrible, but he would. People were acting like, it's him or Sancho at one point. I'd just take him instead. Sancho's dragging on. Let's just get Traore in for 60 million. Do you remember that last summer?
I think he gives you Dan James numbers.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not no disrespect to Dan
James numbers, but in a larger pair of shorts.
Yeah, with baby all over your arms. All right, then.
Tell you what, now you put it that way, pal, I might have to invest a few quid, mate.
Yeah.
Doing more about this baby oil anyway.
Yeah.
What's going on, Paul? Anyway, right. So, Ruben Neves, do you want him? Are we after him? Or are we just being used as some sort of media bargaining chip to get Arsenal to pay more money?
I don't want him.
Yeah.
He's not a 6, is he?
I
feel like he's another Fred in the sense that he's an 8 who can play in a 6.
But I think he's the most like Carrick of anyone we've been linked with.
Really?
Yeah. I think his positioning
I
is
know
excellent.
he can play in a 6. When I say he's not a 6,
yeah.
I mean he's not his natural sort of.
His position is excellent. He's a very good passer of the ball. Obviously, his long-range shooting is somewhat inconsequential when it comes to United, but it's nice to have that threat, that outlet for, at the minute when the ball gets played back to Fred on the 25 yards out, no one even closes him down. You can just mark your man because Fred's going to miss. Personally, I would have Neves at United. But to me, he feels like a if Pogba goes type player, where he's a bit more specialised than Pogba. Pogba is, the all-round, no one's got a sort of a spread of talent the way Paul Pogba has. But I think Neves is a bit more specialised. He sits a little bit deeper, controls the game a bit better than Pogba does, from a deeper position than Pogba does. And I think he could act as a sort of cut price replacement for him. But I don't see why all of a sudden we're ahead of Arsenal in the hunt. That just seems fictional, if you ask me.
Yeah, there Taylor says, seen Arsenal fans saying that signing Neves would be a downgrade on Xhaka. They really are the most deluded fan base in the...
Xhaka?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
In the league.
They are.
Yeah.
You look through Arsenal's team, there is one good player in it, and I don't even know who it is. Do you know what I mean? You go through it and you go, yeah, he's all right. Tierney's all right.
Yeah.
Leno was all right the season before last. Aubameyang was all right the season before last.
Yeah.
They have got no good players in their team, honestly.
Even like Saka, not Saka.
Yeah, Saka's all right. Again, he's all right.
Yeah, he's all right, but I don't necessarily think I'd have him over Mason Greenwood.
I wouldn't have him over any of our attackers.
No, and that's
I
no
mean, Dan
disrespect
James,
to lad,
obviously,
and I fully respect him for what he did in the Euros. But
well, yeah,
I don't
that's
think
a
he's
separate matter.
yeah, no, it is. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't think he's one of the players where if he was available for 70 million, you'd have him.
No chance.
And yeah, if Mason Greenwood was available for 70 million, if Marcus Rashford was available for 70 million, if Jadon Sancho was available for 70 million, of course you would.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I just feel like Arsenal are they are an 8th best in the Premier League team.
Yeah.
Like, they've got Thomas Partey, they've got, like you said, Kieran Tierney.
Aubameyang, who's good on his day.
Was good, but didn't Lacazette get more goals last season?
Yeah.
Which says it all, really, doesn't it? And it's like, they made this big song and dance about keeping Aubameyang, and then he scored like 1 in his first 15 games or something, and it's just like, really? I just feel like
They just
Arsenal...
had 15 years of bad transfers.
I think they have, and I think there's just a general atmosphere around that club of just underachieving, almost going there, not on your holidays, but like just going through the motions almost.
Here's a question for you.
Are they really trying, or do those players and that management or that the owners have aspirations of winning a title or getting into the top 4?
Even less than United.
Yeah,
and
that's saying something.
Yeah. Here's a question. This is for people in the comments, so you'll have to give me the update on this. Name a player that was, either literal value or just sort of respect and how much people thought of that player that joined Arsenal and within 3 years of being at Arsenal was more highly regarded than when they joined. Because for me, people go there with a good reputation and are shit.
Can I just say something as well? You mean recently?
Yeah,
You're not going to go like Patrick Vieira?
No, in the last 10 years.
Yeah, Thierry Henry.
Yeah, in the last 10 years, when have they brought a player in and you've gone, fucking hell, he's where's he come from?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Harry Maguire at Manchester United right now is a good example of that. He's much more highly regarded this moment than he was when he joined United.
100%.
Same with Luke Shaw,
100%.
same with Bruno Fernandes. I would even say...
Wan-Bissaka?
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, you can go through this squad and name 5 or 6 that are very obvious good examples of that.
And this is a separate thing, but we'll do it anyway. You will struggle to name me an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signing that has been a complete flop.
Yeah, Donny van de Beek would be the closest to that, I think.
Well, the jury's out.
No, exactly. I'm not saying he has been. But
and even Igalo coming in on a free, scored 5 goals.
No.
He's not going to have a statue or anything, but he almost did what he said on the tin.
Yeah.
Dan James, good squad player. Look at his numbers. Does the job that you'd expect a £15 million player to do. But all the other ones you've mentioned, and in the case of Bruno, one of the best signings in the last 5 years of any club.
Yeah.
So, you're right. And Arsenal, that's what I mean. I feel like players that they're getting in, like, we were linked with, was it Gabriel?
Yeah.
And they got him. And almost as soon as they get him, you think, I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, he's got a rick in him.
Yeah.
He's a bit shit.
There'd be a time where I'd be like, why are we letting Arsenal get him?
Yeah.
Why are we letting Arsenal get Ramsey?
Yeah.
You mentioned him earlier, great point. Like,
it was Arshavin we were linked with as well. He was a good player.
Yeah, but now it's like, well, they've got him. There must be something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Why has Willian gone from Chelsea to Arsenal?
Yeah.
Because he's almost semi-retired.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it is, from you looking again at the pictures of him, it's like he's sort of certainly not match fit at the minute. So there does seem to be this feeling of like you're saying at Arsenal, I don't know what it is, just...
There is almost part of me that
decline,
thinks they're linked with
decline.
Neves and we're linked with Neves. Does that mean Neves is no good?
Yeah.
And I know obviously that logic isn't necessarily foolproof, but there is part of me that thinks, well, they just get shit players.
No.
But maybe they just turn players shit. Part being an example.
And I think as well, the sort of overhype with some of the youngsters doesn't help.
Oh, it's
I think
ridiculous.
you look at, our youngsters. We've got a lot. We've had a lot of youngsters that have been hyped up.
Yeah.
And certain I'm not saying overhyped. Like Angel Gomez, for example, everyone thought was going to be amazing. He wanted to move on. He moved on.
Yeah.
You've had a couple of other players where you might look at him and go, yeah, they were going to be the next big thing. It didn't happen. Going years back, like players like Lionel Cole, whatever, didn't quite happen for him. But with Arsenal, it seems like every year you hear this thing of like, Maitland-Niles, best player ever.
Sorted.
Yeah.
The future is bright.
As Rashford and Martial in his pocket.
Yeah.
Where's he now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I know it's too soon to say this, but even Martinelli's career couldn't have stuttered any more than it did last season. I know he had injuries and et cetera, but he was meant to be him versus Greenwood. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Just chill out.
He scores a goal and it's like, Mason Greenwood step outside. Like, what are you on about?
Anyway, less about Arsenal.
Sorry.
What's up next?
Glenn B says, would love nothing more than
There
a
you
good
go.
CDM, Neves or Camavinga, and then Lingard to Aston Villa with Grealish the other way, please. Alpha Omega, who's been in the chat quite a lot tonight, appreciated. Not going for Damsgaard and or Mail will be our biggest regret this season after not signing Goretzka.
We'll talk about Goretzka in a second.
Yeah, we will. Do
move
hit
on
the
to
like button as well. And I'm just going to have a look at... Ross Murphy says, Wenger laughing so much.
I know.
Yeah, I think he must have been. They all wanted to get rid of him, and they got rid of him. And now they've sort of gone backwards, haven't they, since he left?
The meme used to be... something first, something second, something third, Arsenal fourth, ...
Yeah.
Even things that weren't football related. That was the joke, because it was so funny that Arsenal finished fourth every year.
Yeah.
They'd bite your hand off for fourth now.
Of course it was. Right, should we talk about Goretzka?
Yes!
Now, you like this guy, don't you?
I don't know, I think he's muscly.
Well,
That's what everyone says. Do you know, like, everyone always goes, Goretzka's a top player and a top player. What do you know about him? Well, he put all that muscle on and those pictures circulated the internet for a bit and everyone thought, well, he must be good because he's got biceps.
What is it with...
Does anyone even know if he's any good?
Like, they do it by Munich. Because, like, was it Felipe Coutinho went there? And, like, turned into Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I wonder what it is. If it's... do you think it's just, what, sausage and Black Forest Gatto? Or do you think...
Our legal team have advised that, yes, it is sausage and black gatto, rather than anything else that people may infer. But yeah, they did all seem to get quite big, didn't they?
Did they?
Big boys.
Interesting that, isn't
Yeah.
it? Very muscular,
They're
very
just
quickly.
Working very hard. Dylan Ducey says Shamak's hair was the best thing about Arsenal.
That's a good point.
Fair point. Matthew Sargent says jacked.
Yeah. Like, fair enough, he's got Jack, but is he any good? Started on the bench for Germany quite a lot in the Euros, didn't he?
Yeah,
But
I mean,
again,
the talk,
that's no judge of a player's general
the
quality.
talk is that it could be Pogba out and Goretzka in.
Yeah.
If Paul Pogba leaves this club this summer, which I know I feel like I've been here before.
We'll talk about it in a little
Yeah.
bit.
If he does, would you have Leon Goretzka as his replacement?
I think I would. I do think I would. Most of what I've seen of him was on that run to the final that Bayern Munich had season before last, where he was, excellent for them, and you always hear good things about him. I think of him as a slightly more. He's not as gifted, and he doesn't have the dribbling and the touch and the ability that Paul Pogba does. But he's just a slightly more regimented Paul Pogba. He'll do a bit more of what you ask him to do and a bit less of what he fancies doing. Which that's one of the things that makes Paul Pogba a great player. But I think sometimes Paul Pogba can be let down by his unwillingness to sort of go completely all out for the tactics, if you know what I mean. Sometimes he wants to do his own thing a little bit, doesn't he? And he gives the ball away a bit. I think Goretzka's a bit more, I'll do what we need to do.
Yeah.
And I quite like that. That's a bit more specialist, like I was saying about Neves. Not in the same way, they're not the same player. But I just think maybe we need a bit more of that in that midfield. Because we've got so much fluidity, sort of free roaming creativity in the front four players, with whether that be Sancho, Greenwood, Bruno, Cavani, Martial, Rashford, that sort of cluster of players there is so sort of free thinking and brilliant and creative. I think behind that we need a bit more. What you're getting.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's hopefully it doesn't come across as too sort of Brexit football to say that. I think we need people who do their job and what you're getting from them, because you've got so much of that going forward. Sometimes it's nice to have that. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. He can do this. He can do this. He'll track back. We're sorted. Yeah. And I think Goretzka's a bit more of that than Paul Pogba is.
This sounds such a basic argument, but I am the main man for those arguments on the channel. He's 26, so he's not one of these up-and-coming young players who we might have to wait 2 or 3 years for him to sort of
he's
blossom.
up and he's come.
Yeah, and he's, you know what I mean? He's ready, like you say, he can...
Didn't like the phrasing on that, sorry.
He's up and he's cummed.
I should have... I know, but
what about his football ability?
Hey!
The highbrow humour you get at Stretford, Paddock.
Yeah.
But also, he can play in several positions.
Yeah.
Can shine as well, can't he? For the German national team, his goal scoring record for them is ridiculous.
Yeah,
isn't
he can take over a game. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah.
But again, he's not quite as sort of mercurial and untouchable as Paul Pogba is on his day.
Yeah.
But he's an excellent midfielder.
Would you say
again though? Why would Bayern let him go?
Would you say? Well, I don't know what goes on at Bayern Munich. Apparently, they've got monetary issues as well, haven't they?
It's almost as though all of football is built on an unstable financial foundation, isn't it? Because, hang on a sec, well, yeah, we don't mind when Bury and Leeds and Bolton, when they can't handle the money, because it's just like, the first lad on his night out going, he can't handle his drink, he's been sick, bless him. Us big boozers, we're all right. But then all the big boozers need liver transplants 15 years down the line and wonder what happened. That's what's happening at the minute with football. It's like, we don't mind the little teams going bankrupt because that's what they do, because they're shit anyway. They don't matter. But now, Barcelona are $1 billion in debt, Real Madrid are $1 billion in debt, Bayern Munich struggling financially, Juventus struggling financially, Inter Milan struggling financially, most of Italian football generally struggling financially. Basically, we're getting to the point where United's £500 million debt is sort of child's play in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, it's a worry when all of Europe's big teams that aren't sponsored and owned by either sort of, basically governments and principalities are in huge amounts of debt. There's a problem there, isn't there?
There is.
And transfers like Eden Hazard for up to 130 million euros is a prime example of why.
No, you're right. And if you look at, you mentioned there Eden Hazard, I think a great indication of just the absolute buffoonery that was going on in European football was the Bayern Munich Barcelona. Was it the semi-final a few years ago?
Yeah.
Where you had, was it Coutinho?
Who cost them 125 million euros from
playing
Liverpool.
against Barcelona and scoring a brace whilst on loan at Bayern Munich. And you also had Barcelona having like Griezmann and Dembele and that, more or less, I think on the bench. It was like you've got 450 million quid's worth of talent there.
Either not playing for you or playing against you.
And that's just grotesque.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just, it's not just mismanagement.
No,
it's just ridiculous. It's beyond that.
Yeah.
And it's just a good, I know it is a bit of an outlier, but it's an example of how badly wrong football was becoming, and you've got all this just ridiculous amounts of money being thrown about.
Kepa, a very unproven young goalkeeper who's turned out to be average at best, 75 million euros to Chelsea.
How's that a thing?
What are we doing?
Yeah, it's madness.
Yeah.
And people want to go berserk about the fact you've got one of the best centre-backs in the world who costs you 80 million. Yes, it's a lot of money, but he's worth it, in my opinion.
So I think Goretzka, again, referencing back to the podcast we did with Sam Pilger yesterday, is very much in the category of, again, alongside Neves, if Pogba goes, he's probably on the list.
Ryan L, you're right. Ryan L in the super chat says, just ordered the perfect package 3.0 thanks to Paddock with 20% off. Thanks, lads. See Jamie O'Hara saying he worries about Varane's pace in the Prem.
Go away. Just go away. This is
Do
what
you know what I feel
happen,
with Talk Sport? I feel it's like, literally, they go out in the street, bump into someone, you used to play football, you come with us quick. Right, just quick, we need just sit down here.
Yeah.
There's a microphone.
Hello.
Right, Varane.
I just say no, I haven't prepared anything.
Just talk about Varane.
Varane, is he, what size are his feet? Because that can be an issue.
In the Premier League,
Varane, well, that's the problem, isn't it? Because as we know with Spanish players, is he Spanish?
He plays in Spain.
Spanish, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's all the same, innit?
And they're all big softies. So it'll come over and it'll be all slow and difficult for him, won't it? Too fast for him.
Yeah.
What's going on? That's literally
that is like the MO there, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's just ridiculous.
Well, Spanish football's slow shit and stuff. And that's why they've won 7 of the last 13, or what is it? 8 of the last 13 Champions Leagues, because that style of football doesn't translate across Europe very well. That's why they've dominated Europe for the last decade.
It's such a ridiculous argument. Varane's pace won't be good enough in the Premier League.
Yeah, because also, with the exception of Rio Ferdinand, almost none of the Premier League's best ever defenders have relied on pace.
No.
Like, I mean, we hate to put him in there, but Terry, Vidic, Carvalho, Company was quite quick, but by the end he'd lost his legs and was still excellent. Like, the defining factor of most of the Premier League's best centre backs isn't pace.
But Varane is quick though, isn't he?
Yeah, but he is very quick again. But he's not slow. I'm just even Diaz. Like,
No.
there's literally Van Dijk and Ferdinand that like relied on their pace, and other than that, that's about it.
Yeah,
It's
like
what
Vidic
is
wasn't
going
the
on
quickest.
here? No,
Steve Bruce.
I mean,
Like I right now could probably beat Steve Bruce
Yeah.
in a race at his peak.
Yeah.
But he just read the game probably better than any centre back I've ever seen. He's actually very underrated. So yeah, not only is Varane very quick, but also he's an immensely talented defender who could easily work in the Premier League. And just to go, he won't be quick in the Premier League is just like saying he won't be French in the Premier League. It's nonsensical.
Yeah,
Do you know
and what he's done, what it seems like he's done there is confused this sort of semi-outdated theory of the Premier League is the fastest league, and he's sort of confounded that with the idea that means everyone who plays in the Premier League can actually run faster than everyone else. That's not what that means. It means the intensity of games is faster. He's gone, the Premier League's a fast league, isn't it? Therefore, Varane will be physically slow. No, it's not the same thing. It just means it's a faster pace in terms of the game, not in terms of each player playing is just 4 mile an hour quicker than everyone else in every other division. That's not what that phrase means. Anyway, what's next?
I think he's just confused the words.
I think he's
pace.
confused the
I
word-
think he's confused the word pace with here and the word Premier League with by the weekend.
Yeah, and he's also confused the words retired footballer with radio DJ. Right, what's up next? Facundo
Pellistri,
Whatever.
who we all love now after his goal against Derby.
After his 40 good minutes in the night.
Yeah, we just changed our opinion on him. We went from thinking, I don't know if he's got a future at United, to thinking he's probably going to be the next number 7.
Yeah.
There's speculation about his future. Bless him. Because it looks like he's going to go out on loan, but, you know, there's a debate. I mean,
let them talk, Jay.
Alaves.
We don't deal with that sort of...
Alaves
Go on,
are
Alaves.
keen on resigning him. He went there on loan, didn't he, last season?
Yeah.
Did okay, I think. I don't think he did okay enough for him to want him back. It was a bit of a weird one because obviously that's not exactly a glamour club, is it? Or one of the top clubs. It's not like, even like Diogo Dalot going to AC Milan, it's like, okay, that's
Historic.
And although they're not, you know, where they used to be, it's still a very big club and a decent standard.
And also,
bit of a different one.
just the fact they play in front of sort of a 70,000 seater stadium and stuff. I know they don't fill it every week, but there's a sort of a grandioseness, if there is such a word, to AC Milan, isn't there? But anyway,
no, there is. So obviously it's a different sort of story for Pellistri. Bit of a weird one because he came in, didn't really get much of a chance, played for the under-23s a few times, gets his loan move or goes out on loan. I think gets his loan move like he earned it, or like that was his
target.
Yeah, that wasn't his target. Goes out on loan. Don't really hear too much about him. He's like, he's doing okay. Not like he's, you know, oh, we've got to get him back or whatever. Did well the other day. Now it looks like he's going to go out on loan again. I mean, Joe, where do you stand on Pellistri? Do you think he could make it work at United? Because we must have bought him for a reason. Surely.
Yeah, I think he could make it work. It's way too soon to say with him, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've not seen even, you know, the beginning of him, let alone the end of him.
I mean, he's still as well. Don't forget, he's only 19 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It's-
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because, and I'm not comparing the two, I'm just using this as an example to make my point. You know, at 19, like the likes of David Beckham wasn't anywhere near the first team. I think he went out on loan when he was about 19. So, you know, some players develop later than others is what I'm getting. You're not all Ryan Giggs or Marcus Rashford or Mason Greenwood
Or Raphael
Varane playing in the first team in your teens.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen like that. So Facundo Pellistri could go out on loan and we could see him sort of over the next season or two just become a much better player.
And to be honest, I do think a loan is the best thing for him. I think if they want him back, he liked it there. If if he did like it there, I think, you know, send him somewhere he kind of knows now. He has a relationship with that team. Get him out.
Yeah, definitely. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about Pellistri. We've got a super chat there. We can find it. This is a test of my speaking skills.
Come on.
Gireda Dinakaran, forgive me if I butchered that one, says, with Donny and Bruno, along with our attacking three, we should be okay. Let's sort our defence and go win something. Also, this is a good question, your thoughts on Eric Ramsey? This is obviously the set-piece specialist.
We will be, and I've sort of teased this before already, but then Steve went on holiday, the dickhead. Stephen Housen is going to be doing a sort of in-depth video on exactly who Eric Ramsey is, what he's going to bring to Manchester United, why he's been brought in, and we'll be giving, like, you know, the full sort of story on who he is exactly and what he's doing. So look, check that out, and that'll be coming out next week. In terms of my opinion on him, from the information that I know, he's one of these people that is regarded as a sort of real high flyer, like shocked everyone with how sort of quickly and how young was he? He's like 26 or 27 or something.
Yeah, he's quite young, I think.
But he came through a few years ago and he was basically, you know, a kid coming through and doing coaching and that sort of thing. So what he's been brought in to do, which is set pieces, I think if he's good at what he does and he gels well with Manchester United, I think could be the difference between not just a trophy, which, you know, for instance, look at the Villarreal game where we conceded from a set piece. I think that could be the difference between us challenging for the league or not, because our set piece record, certainly the first half of the season, was diabolical defensively. If we can sort that out, you know, let's say we half the number of goals we concede from set pieces, I think we'll be one of the best teams in the league.
100%. I'm looking forward to see what he can do. Obviously, he won the World Cup with England, so he must be pretty good.
You're thinking...
Hey.
No.
How many people have done that? One. Eric Ramsey.
No, you're thinking of Alf Ramsey, was the manager.
I wonder how he could be so young in the World Cup.
No, because that's someone else. Alf Ramsey's...
and he didn't play for Arsenal?
No, that's
to Juve.
Aaron Ramsey.
The different. We spoke about it.
Just different because we were talking about this because you got your name's Motta said you don't know anyone else with that surname.
No.
Other surnames can have more than one family
Really?
So there's different Ramses, but it's you know, man.
Imagine having a common name like that, Ramsey. Like, thankfully, us two. There's no one else called Matters, and there's certainly no one else called Joe Smith. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Birthday boy on Saturday. Have a good one.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Getting. No, just having a fun time.
Yeah.
With a beer festival.
Yeah. So if you see Joe on Saturday out and about, buy him a beer. He's earned it. Also, get involved in the rest of the channel. Go and check out all the other videos. We'll talk about that video me and the boy Wonder here did with Sam Pilger. Really good stuff.
Yes.
Love that. Also, we've got another super chat that I'll read out before we go. Surav Mukherjee says, any 5 if we could sell to raise some funds. Do we have enough to sell, which would give us 50 million to spend for RDM? What do you think about this? Maybe if Lingard or someone like that goes, we can raise enough funds to get a DM in. I'm not so sure. We might struggle to have enough to raise the sort of money that's needed, but we'll wait and see. And if that happens, we will keep you updated. So make sure you're hitting like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get the notification. In the morning, it's you with the news, isn't it, son?
It will be me in the morning. Correct. Again, thank you to tonight's sponsor. Make sure you check them out. Link in the description. And with all investments, capital is at risk. But check them out. Link in the description. Thank you again to Free Trade.
Thank you for them. To them, thank you to you,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you to you, Mr. J.
Thank you. This has been Stretford Paddock Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.